All right, we are just about getting these numbers shortly. We're waiting on the jobs numbers where we're expecting 180,000 jobs created in the month of January and the unemployment rate to tick higher to 3.8%. We are watching the revisions, of course, and we're also looking at production. You got the numbers?
Wow.
All right, let's get right to Cheryl. Go ahead,
This is something. 353,000.
Jobs of 24 is out, and it is whopper 353,000. 353,000.
I mean, my mea culpa, I was wrong about the slowdown in the recession. So was the entire
I don't think you were wrong.
forecasting fraternity. Well, the Fed, everyone was wrong.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what it looks like when someone is forced to stomach humble pie. Delicious, huh?
To speak for a second on President Joe Biden selling Bidenomics in Wisconsin today. Now, yes, I'm an honest broker. He got a good 3.3% GDP number for the fourth quarter.
For anyone paying attention on the first of each month, the economy continues to go from strength to strength. And despite what Trump would have his cult following believe, it is not in fact due to an anticipation of him returning to office.
The Biden team can say, well, if things are so bad, how come the stock market's on a roll?
Because they think I'm going to be elected.
That you think the stock market's rallying because people think you're going to be elected?
Yeah. If you take a look at Iowa, if you take a look at New Hampshire, the stock market's been going crazy since then and long before then. When I announced I was running, I took the lead early, and then I beat everybody, including Ron DeSantis. I call him DeSantis now. I took the other names.
Mr. President, back to the economy for a second. Would you...
Especially considering that he did nothing but predict the economic demise of America if Biden were to get in office back in 2020.
He said the stock market will boom if I'm elected. If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
Only to be proved wrong time and time and time again.
Finished the week 10-year about
353,000 jobs added in the first month of the year. Unemployment stays at 3.7%. What a blowout report.
We have to go in the Wayback Machine. That is the biggest non-farm payroll gains since January of 23, when it was 472,000.
When there's a crash, I hope it's going to be during this next 12 months. Because I don't want to be Herbert Hoover. The one president, I just don't want to be Herbert Hoover.
He's acknowledging that my economy is doing pretty darn well because he doesn't want that to continue. And by the way, the idea that he wants to see a crash in the next 12 months, doesn't want to be Herbert Hoover, he has to understand, he's already Herbert Hoover.
But after months of doing backflips to avoid praising the current administration for the almost unfathomable job that they've done to stabilize the train wreck that they inherited, secure a soft landing, and implement legislation like the CHIPS and Science Act, Infrastructure Bill, and Inflation Reduction Act to bolster economic growth month over month. Fox News host and former Trump economic advisor Larry Kudlow finally admitted he was wrong.
Now, I'd say Mr. Biden inherited a boom and turned it into a bust. That's Bidenomics. So almost surely the economy is headed for a significant slump. Now, it suffered inflationary recession in the first half of 2022, may be headed for a deflationary recession next year, 2024.
12 seconds later.
Look, it was a good quarter. Don't get me wrong. 3.3% beat estimates. And the last quarter was a good quarter, 4.9%. Absolutely. So he gets his due. If I were he, I'd be out slinging that hash, too. No problem. To speak for a second on President Joe Biden selling Bidenomics in Wisconsin today. Now, yes, I'm an honest broker. He got a good 3.3% GDP number for the fourth quarter, following a good 4.9% in the third quarter. OK, if I were he, I would be bragging about it, too. And inflation has come down. My mea culpa, I was wrong about the slowdown in the recession. So was the entire
I don't think you were wrong.
forecasting fraternity. Well, the Fed, everyone was wrong. Okay.
I would say better late than never, but the damage was already done. Just take a look at the archives and you'll find Larry Kudlow on air bending the knee for his cult leader.
You've never done so well. And anything left over, like you see the fumes, it's the fumes of the Trump administration. That's the only thing that's keeping this Biden thing a little bit alive, because their numbers are no good except for the stock market. They have terrible inflation numbers still, but the stock market, that's the fumes of what we did. And the fact that I'm leading every poll. If I weren't leading every poll, the stock market would crash.
It's up around 400 points. The Kudlow Trust is doing well. Techs and AI stocks are leading the way. Now, former President Trump has said the market is rallying because he's going to be reelected president. Others believe the market is rallying because Joe Biden is going to be defeated. Whoops, I think that's the same thing. Still, others believe the market is up because the Fed's going to slash interest rates and juice the economy to get Biden reelected. I personally don't buy into that. You would think Joe Biden would be crowing about a record market on his watch.
Just last month, he said with a straight face that the reason the stock market reached record heights was possibly because people were just excited that Trump might get back in office.
Real quick, final question on the Dow, S&P 500, U.S. stock market hitting all-time highs today. Second record so far in 2024. If we can pop up the Dow, what's happening here and what, I don't know. We were scratching our heads earlier. You're talking about the resiliency. I can give you my take. I think there's still great anticipation that the Fed's going to cut rates this year.
I agree. I think that's exactly right. It may be setting up for disappointment. On the other hand, Donald Trump has said several times the last few days the stock market's rallying because it's anticipating that he will return to the presidency. Oh!
The shamelessness knows no bounds, but it doesn't mean that we can't enjoy watching them retreat, and retreat they shall, because while you can pick at many things that the current Biden administration have mismanaged, one of them is not the economy.
Yeah, Biden's approval is historically low. Why is that?
Everybody's approval. Across the spectrum, you find exceptions to that. Look, it's been hard globally the last 6-7 years. But again, America stands tall. We're the tentpole of the world economy. No peers economically. Again, a masterclass of delivering. The economy is booming, inflation is cooling, and of course the economic strategies this president put together were all things Republicans dreamt of, but never delivered. He's delivered.
It was just announced that in January alone, the US economy added a blockbuster 353,000 jobs, far exceeding expectations that were around 180,000. This comes in the wake of December's numbers that again surpassed expectations.
Good news. Gas prices are down, stocks are hitting all-time highs, and consumer confidence is starting to rebound.
About the economy, sir, what's your outlook on the economy next year?
All good. Take a look. Start reporting it the right way.
Revised numbers have shown up to 330,000 jobs were added. Unemployment continues to remain below 4% at a rate of 3.7%. Wage growth is at 4.5% in the past year, far ahead of 3.4% inflation. There is no argument to the contrary, and anyone who claims that there is, that the economy maybe was better under Trump, are simply lying through their teeth.
In fact, only 2 presidents in American history with fewer jobs the day they left office than when they started. One was President Hoover, and the other was Donald Hoover Trump. Seriously, only 2 presidents in American history. And look, you may remember my predecessor promised to be the greatest job president in history. Well, it didn't really work out that way. He lost 2 million jobs over the course of his presidency, 2 million. We've created 13.4 million new jobs. We not only recovered all the jobs we lost during the pandemic, we've added millions more. We've seen record lows in unemployment, particularly, and I've focused on this my whole career, particularly for African Americans and Hispanic workers and veterans.
They're deliberately trying to mislead the American people, and unfortunately, it does work on those willfully cocooned off from reality. On a network that would have its audiences believe that gas is up.
But I do know that the country looks a hell of a lot better than it did on January 6th. And I do know from what...
Honestly, I don't know.
What?
I mean,
really?
There's been so much
Have you
unrest.
seen the footage?
Have you seen the border? Have you seen gas prices? Have you seen inflation? Have you seen schools?
And yes,
there is a precipitous quality of life.
What is better? What's better? What is better? The economy is better. Crime and safety is better. The border is not better.
But is that why he's polling at like 12% on the economy?
He's not polling at 12%. If you go and look at the Real Clear Politics average or the 538 average, you see that Joe Biden is around 2 points down in the averages there. There are a slew of polls, including swing state polls.
And the reason they do this is because the Republican officials elected to represent them want that to be the case. There are now numerous Republicans who have went on record openly praying for the demise of their fellow Americans if it means scoring political points.
So sometimes I think the American people, and the pain has to be real. The American people have to experience pain for them to realize just how destructive this administration is. And I think the American people are seeing it. Do I want to see gas go to $8? Well, if it does, I'll say, well, America, you earned it. You voted for this asshat.
And that strategy comes straight from the top.
If Biden wins, you're going to have a stock market collapse, the likes of which you've never had. You will have a collapse. All in the wrong places. I had no inflation, and I had the greatest economy ever. We had gasoline at $1.87. Now it's $4 or $5. But by the way, they're working together with other countries, sadly, because it's artificial, because they're going to give it up right after the election. You've seen that before. When there's a crash, I hope it's going to be during this next 12 months.
Donald Trump hopes millions of Americans lose their money from their 401ks and retirement savings within the next 12 months, so he doesn't look bad.
But no matter how much smoke they blow, it simply won't change the reality. The economy is far better under Biden than it was under Trump. There are no amount of verbal gymnastics that can dispute that, but guaranteed Fox News will try.
Let's look at what folks were saying last New Year's, at the beginning of this year. You had most financial outlets and many economists assuring us that a recession was inevitable and that the unemployment rate would have to rise many points in order to get inflation down. Go back a year and a half and the price of gas was north of $5 a gallon. Today, as I sit and talk to you on New Year's Eve day, there is no recession. Unemployment has been below 4% for 22 months in a row. Price of gas this morning was $3.11 on average across the nation and below $3 a gallon in 28 states. That the measures that this president is taking to help provide support and relief to families like the one he grew up in are working and that people are starting to feel.
Really push what remains of the old spark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
This was just a diversion. Security, please bring up. Rabbit, she's already inside. Deeds! Give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
Right, evac.
She's right in front.
We are facing a heavy, sustained attack. They appear to be after the All-Star.